Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Harrogate series. Harrogate is a large borough, one of the 11 districts of North Yorkshire. It's got 139 civil parishes. Which one are we in this episode? Welcome back to Harrogate, everybody. Now today I've brought you to a place that's right on the edge of Boroughbridge. Well, we were in a place on the edge of Boroughbridge last time. It felt like a bit of a disappointment, that Rowcliffe episode right at the end there, not being able to get Reed Bordle. Hopefully we'll do a bit better with this one. So I'm parked on a road that's called East View, and this is right at the north of this village, which is a long linear road running down into Boroughbridge itself, and its name is Langthorpe. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like, and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Langthorpe, Langlifr's farm. Continuing with our run along the River Ure, this week in Harrogate we come to Langthorpe, a village which is connected to the town of Boroughbridge. In fact, it's a little hard to know where the boundary between the two is, because Langthorpe is practically conjoined to its larger neighbour. Its name is the subject of a little debate. According to the official definition from the University of Nottingham, which I use for every parish, Langthorpe means Langlifr's farm. However, the parish council's website suggests it means long settlement instead. My gut feeling is that the latter is more likely. Langthorpe is a long village after all, in two directions actually. Its main street runs from east to west along the road towards Skelton-on-Ure, but there's also another road north to south which connects Boroughbridge to Kirby Hill. Without a doubt, the biggest and most well-known landmark in this one is the former Warwick Anchor Brewery, sited right on the banks of the Ure. It's now been turned into housing. The Ure also has a weir at this point, which is a great little beauty spot. In this one, we'll also be discussing 3 pubs, a very unusual roundabout, a caravan park, a field full of a common yellow crop, and even an old jam factory. Safe to say, there's a lot here. So, let's get on with it. We start at East View, which is off Leeming Lane. Here we are at the northernmost tip of Langthorpe. We need to get ourselves to the west, and to do that we have to use a footpath to cross a field. I haven't seen this crop for several years. If you don't know what this is, let me tell you. This is rapeseed and it's used to make vegetable oil. It's also the second largest source of protein meal in the world. Walking through it won't harm you, but beware, it might make you sneeze. Now on Back Lane, this is the Old Hall Caravan site, a holiday park located on a former Saxon farmstead. Back Lane is otherwise housing, and there's some pretty new ones along here. They are a theme in Langthorpe. At its end we reach Skelton Road. Over this field you can see the A1 and the A168. There are earthworks in the fields around here, possibly the remains of a henge complex according to Yorkshire archaeological aerial mapping. Moving on, here we see Langthorpe Grange, one of several lovely old buildings on the Skelton Road. This is Langthorpe's main road and it runs from east to west. Only one property is a listed building along here though, and that would be Langthorpe Villa. Skelton Road also has a pub. This is the Fox and Hounds. This is a quintessential village pub serving the finest ales and fresh food, and on Sundays there's a fantastic carvery too. It even has a weekly quiz night. It's family and pet friendly and ideal for those staying at the caravan park. Close by there's a phone box which is now the local book exchange. After this, the road becomes wholly residential between here and its junction with Leeming Lane. It's a mixture of both old and new property-wise. Although most of the older houses look like they have long histories, there's nothing of note recorded about them. Langthorpe Manor did once have a notable owner. Local estate agent Buchanan Mitchell's website tells you that. However, I can't elaborate on who it was owing to a website error. Buchanan Mitchell, by the way, is owned by the former Reading FC footballer and manager Mick Gooding. A bit further along the road, we pass the main entrance to the Old Hall Caravan Park. You are entitled, by the way, to walk through that on a public right-of-way. And by this point, I was beginning to struggle for things to talk about. Not for long, though. Langthorpe is a growing village. Here's more new builds to go with those on Back Lane. Some old structures, though, have now become residences. On Waterside is a great example. These are the old maltings and kilns of the former Warwick Anchor Brewery. Once Langthorpe's biggest industrial landmark, it was acquired by John Smith's Tadcaster Brewery in 1925, and it had some 42 public houses. Brewing ceased some time ago, and now most of the buildings are listed Grade 2. This tower is another old brewery building. It's the former laundry, which too has become residential now. Now we're on a path that follows a river that's becoming quite familiar to us. Once again, we're at the River Ure. The name of this river probably means strong. Linguists have made that assumption on the basis that the Brittonic name of the Ure was Isura, given that the Roman name for nearby Aldborough was Isurium. This explanation connects the river's name with the River Isar in Germany and the Isère in France. All have the Indo-European root Is, meaning strong. The brewery buildings stand right on its banks. No surprise there, a watery place was ideal for brewing. From this path you can appreciate just how big the brewery complex was. Some buildings, not many, haven't yet been redeveloped and are still derelict. Now we've hit a roundabout which is perhaps one of the most unusual you will ever see. It's built over a canalised section of the Ure known as the Milby Cut. That section exists because boats cannot navigate this, Boroughbridge Weir. This is thought to have been built between 1767 and 1769. The canal under the roundabout was completed in 1770. This has to be one of the best spots in Langthorpe to sit and rest a while. So if you sit on one of these benches that faces the weir, that's literally all you can hear. You can't hear anything else around you, just the sound of that rushing water. It's actually quite soothing in a way. I could spend pretty much all day here, but of course we still need to walk around this village and see what else it's got. And now we've come away from all the residences and we've come alongside the river. We are heading now towards the area that's got all the major amenities. There's a couple of pubs to see. There's one that actually isn't in Langthorpe. It's just over the boundary into another parish, but we'll catch it here because it literally is right on the border. And then there's one that's actually in the village itself. And there's a few other bits and bobs. And then it's basically a case of walking up the main road back towards where we began. It's a lovely place, Langthorpe, it really is. And this is certainly one of its best spots. Come and sit here for a while and listen to the water. I don't think you're going to regret it. Here's one for the fellow walkers out there. You might like to try the Langthorpe Loop, and there's excellent information about that at the weir. Langthorpe also has a parish notice board just outside the car park too, so let's get this one marked off the list. Moving on, let's go back to the roundabout, and we're going to walk all the way around it. It really is quite an unusual structure, built as it is over the Ure. You can walk from here down the towpath to Milby Lock, the sister lock to Westwick, and the second of the two built in the 1700s by John Smith. We'll see that in Milby. There are two pubs on the roundabout. This is the Grantham Arms, and technically this is actually in Milby, but it makes more sense to cover it here, as the boundary runs right through the roundabout. It's a former coaching inn, and now it's a contemporary bar and restaurant, and it has free parking. Nice. Nearby, and actually in Langthorpe this time, is the Anchor Inn. This is the old brewery's home pub, although you may have guessed that from the name. Now a community pub, among its features is a door with an interesting stained glass window. It leads to a raised patio which overlooks the River Ure. You can catch a bus outside this pub. Langthorpe is served by two, the numbers 82 and 83. After the pub, and well worth a mention, is Walton's Mill Shop. This occupies an old jam factory, which I couldn't find a lot about, but the building is now an Aladdin's cave of fabrics and soft furnishings. It began life in 1785 at Castle Mills in Knaresborough as Walton & Co., a wholesale household linen business. Via Harrogate Town Centre, it would end up here in 2012, albeit with a slightly different name. After that, you pass the other end of Waterside, more new builds around the old brewery. The houses that front Leeming Lane, though, are much older and they're called Station View. That's because there used to be a railway line here. Its route passed through the industrial estate at Rowcliffe, over the Ure and around the back of the old brewery. We'll meet the old station in Milby. After passing Gasking Close, though, the remainder of Langthorpe sees us finish Leeming Lane via Boroughbridge Vets and several other new builds on the right-hand side before arriving at a playground just south of East View. I don't know about you, but I enjoyed that little amble around Langthorpe. And once you get beyond that park, you are then heading towards East View and back to where we began. Now obviously, as we've walked up this road, there are some other things on the what was the right hand side as you looked at it. That's not Langthorpe Parish, that falls within a different one, but of course we are not covering that one today. We're covering Langthorpe, so makes more sense to cover that at a later date. So yeah, there you go, that's the walk around Langthorpe, and it's time to move on to the next one. And that will do us for Langthorpe. To finish, we drive away from the village by passing along Horsefair, one of the main roads in Boroughbridge. That shows you just how close Langthorpe and Boroughbridge are to each other. Join me next week for another village that's close to this town. See you later, everyone. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.